Tuesday, August 19th, 2025. Welcome to this commission meeting. We'll start this off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, let's see. We will start this off with introduction so you all know which one of us is which. I am Candace Payne. I'm the chair of this meeting. To my immediate left is Mr. Tom Rolfe, Commissioner Extraordinaire. Morning, Tom.
Good morning, Chair Payne.
I'm buttering you up for no good, you know. And our recording secretary, Brandy Spangler. And the head of our Public Works Department, Jenny Chambers. I've only been working with you for 3 years. You'd think I'd have it. Good morning. To my immediate right is Mr. Andy Hunthausen, who's been here for 18 years. And if I mess up on procedures, he reminds me. Mr. Nico Hash from the County Attorney's Office and Mr. Roger Balls, our Chief Administrative Officer. Welcome, everyone. We have a sign-up sheet right on that little table up there and copies of the agenda if you'd like to, you know, keep score or write notes or whatever. Okay. Let's see, we have consent action items to A, B, and C, which will be presented to us by Mr. Roger Walsh.
Thank you, Chair Payne and Commissioners. As you just said, Commissioner Payne, the first item is item 2A, engagement letter with Eide Bailey for fiscal year 2025 audit services. Staff recommends approval of that item. Item 2B is public meeting minutes for June 26, July 1, 2025, and staff recommends approval of that item. And the last item, Commissioners, is item 2C, Resolution 2025-82, declaring county property surplus property. Staff recommends approval of that item as well. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Roger. Is there any comment or questions from the commission?
None here.
Seeing none, is there any public comment? Seeing no public comment, could I have a motion?
Chair Payne, I would move to approve consent action items 2A, 2B, and 2C as explained by Mr. Balls.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve consent action items 2A, 2B, and 2C as explained by Mr. Roger Balls. Is there any further comment? All right. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to the action items. Action item 3A, grant application to the Helena Exchange Club as presented by Sarah Sandau.
Good morning,
Sarah.
Chair Payne and Commissioners. My name is Sarah Sandau. I'm the grant specialist at Lewis and Clark Public Health. Today I have before you a grant application to the Helena Exchange Club for their large grant application funding up to the amount of $2,500 to cover baby items such as car seats at the community baby shower. The grant funds would be spent by the end of December 2025. On November 2nd, 2025, Lewis and Clark Public Health will be hosting a community baby shower. A baby shower is a time to get the needed items to start your baby's journey, honor the pregnant woman, and a time to feel connection. Not every pregnant woman is able to have a baby shower. Butte 4Cs hosted a community baby shower this past year, and we decided to follow their idea. We will prioritize our lower income families, but there will be spots open for all. Space is limited to 75 pregnant women and a +1. The goals of the baby shower include 1, to provide resources and connection to services for pregnant women and their families. There will be resources present and materials there for those who wish. Our home visiting team at Lewis and Clark Public Health are the hosts of this event, and they will be present to talk to families about the benefits of home visiting and other community resources. These resources hopefully provide new parents skills to raise their babies in a healthy and happy home. And the second goal is connection to other people in a similar stage of life. Postpartum depression and anxiety is an issue that our home visiting programs aim to screen and address. Connection to other people who understand the excitement, but also the struggles and fears, is a way to build community and decrease isolation. The third goal is access to supplies. We are working with a mix of grant funds and community donations to build a selection of different items for families to be able to take home following the shower. They will all leave with some diapers, wipes, a diaper bag, and other necessities and fun items. These additional grant funds and donations will help with some of the bigger items, such as the car seats. We have funds from our universally offered home visiting grant that we are using to fund most of the event. This will cover the venue, food, marketing, and other logistics. We are going to start soliciting community donations that are going to help with some of the giveaways for families. And then this grant specifically from the Helena Exchange Club would help purchase car seats for families who might be struggling to purchase one on their own. The Helena Exchange Club focuses on 4 pillars: Americanism, community service, youth activities, and the prevention of child abuse. This event helps address the prevention of child abuse by supporting our new families at this vital time to keep our babies safe. Information on this event, such as how to apply, how to nominate a pregnant person in your life, or how to donate, is all available now on our Lewis and Clark Public Health website. It takes a village to raise a family. Staff recommends approval, and I'm here for questions.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Space is limited to 75 pregnant women and a +1. I have no idea what a +1 is.
That's a great question, Commissioner Payne. So it's whoever their support person might be. It might be a husband, it might be a parent, it might be their best friend.
Okay, so the 75 pregnant women could each bring
Yes.
somebody as a support person. See, I misunderstood this. I thought there are going to be 76 people attending, and I was wrong. So I'm really glad I asked.
I'm glad you asked too, so that we can make sure our marketing doesn't make it sound like that, because you are correct. It does sound like that. It'll be 150.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that's clear
Thank you.
when this is sent out. Anyway, that's did
Great
you have any questions?
clarification.
None here. None here.
Chair Payne,
Andy?
if I could just repeat when and then if people have questions, how they can get a hold of you or someone on your team.
Thank you, Commissioner Hunhausen. It will be on November 2nd, 2025. It will be at the Delta Hotel, and all of the logistics, we are having people apply so that we don't have 300 show up. So the application to apply or nominate someone else, as well as all of the information on the shower and why we're doing it and the purposes of home visiting, that will all be available on our Lewis and Clark Public Health website. And then we'll promote it through marketing and Facebook so people can find access to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Payne.
Any further questions, comments? Is there any public comment? Seeing no public comment, could we have a motion, please?
Chair Payne, I'd move that we approve the grant application to the Helena Exchange Club as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the grant application to the Helena Exchange Club as presented by Sarah Sandau. Is there any further discussion on this matter? The commission?
Chair Payne, I'll just tell you, you may have, given a clue to the generation you're from by not knowing what the +1 was. It's a pretty common term now out there, but I won't tell anybody. So, young at heart and all that kind of stuff. I had to give you a hard time.
With that in mind, God, I hate age jokes. Okay, so it's been moved and seconded that we approve this grant application to the Helena Exchange Club as presented by Sarah Sandau, along with the smart alecky remarks from certain commissioners. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Sarah. Next item on our agenda is grant application to the Montana Department of Military Affairs Disaster and Emergency Services Division, and it will be presented by our friend, Mr. Kyle Sturgill-Simon.
Chair Payne, Commissioners, Kyle Sturgill-Simon, Emergency Manager for Lewis and Clark County. The Emergency Management Program is asking that Lewis and Clark County apply for FEMA mitigation funding through the Hazard Mitigation Program post-fire. This is federal funding that was made available after the Horse Gulch fire impacted our county in 2024. The suppression efforts on the Horse Gulch fire were aided by past wildfire mitigation, and part of our program's mission is to protect more of the county by mitigating on private property with help from our wildfire mitigation contractor, Tri-County Fire Safe Working Group. The project that we propose will mitigate 80 properties in areas of the county that are high risk of wildfire. We are capitalizing on work already done by Tri-County Fire Safe Working Group and submitting only properties that have already had wildfire risk assessments completed by their mitigation experts. These property owners have expressed interest in having mitigation work done on their property. They just need assistance with a professionally written mitigation prescription, contracting with a suitable company for doing the work, and verifying that the work is done to industry standards. This is something that Tri-County Fire Safe Working Group has already been procured by the county to do for us. We anticipate this project to cost $510,212, $127,553 worth of which will be required as match. Tri-County Fire Safe Working Group has provided a funding commitment letter that's in your packets, assuring that the 25% match will be covered by their in-kind services and expenses, as well as property owner cash and in-kind services dedicated to the project. There's also a 5% management costs award, which we intend to ask for, which will cover our program's cost of managing the grant. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle. Any questions from
I just,
Commission?
maybe a clarification. It appears that it was not going to take anything out of our regular funding, other than maybe, no, in fact, it wouldn't be anything, would it?
Chair Payne, Commissioner, correct. So the match for the project itself will be managed at the property level, and in-kind services provided in the course of doing the project itself. And then our time as a county working on the grant should be covered by the 5% management costs.
This is well, really works out great to be able to provide this for a lot of folks living in the forested areas around town and around the county, and pretty much everything's being done, paid for by FEMA, and then the individuals will be benefited then.
Correct, Chair Payne, Commissioners. So this grant is a 75% federal share, and then the 25% can be made up of cash that the homeowner provides for the contract work to be done, or their own volunteer time, or in-kind services that have been kind of dedicated to the project.
Great opportunity for people to protect their homes and their property. Great, thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Andy,
I do
anything?
not.
I don't have any questions for you, but I see that our friend Lois Olson from the Tri-County Fire Safe Working Group is in the audience. Would she care to possibly add a little something?
I believe so. She's my backup in case there's any tricky questions.
Well, she is absolutely dedicated to this program and has appeared at so many meetings, and she is out there trying to get the job done. So welcome, Lois.
Thank you, Chairman Payne and Commissioners. We're very
State your name.
Lois Olson. I'm the president of the board of Tri-County Fire Safe Working Group. I'm also the volunteer executive director for the program at the moment, and we're very excited about this grant. We've been looking forward to it since we heard that the county would qualify. We're in a very good position to manage this grant and do it appropriately. We have a great staff. We've just hired a full-time grants program manager who is excellent and will eventually move into the executive director position. We have 2 part-time fuel specialists who are great professional people that work throughout all 3 counties that we serve constantly. We have active grants. We have a group of great contractors that are on our website, 16 now, which is a very different situation than when we had a FEMA grant a few years back and went through COVID and had some other issues. If any of that is lurking in anyone's minds, those problems won't occur. We're completely ready to do this and excited about it and looking forward to working with all these homeowners we've already worked with. So,
Okay. Thank you, Lois. Any questions for Lois?
Just,
Okay. Tom?
we might just reemphasize, is there a time deadline that people need to apply to get this, to take advantage of this?
yeah, Chairman Payne, Commissioners, there is, we will go with the current list that we have, which is we have over 80 homeowners in Helena, and we also have the 50 out in the county who currently have assessments. And so that's the list that we'll start with. And Kyle might want to talk about how he will work with FEMA if we have homeowners drop off and new ones come on. You want to address that?
Sure, Chair Payne, Commissioner, good question. So for this grant, we are using property owners that have basically already signed up so that we have a very solid footing to start off with. We are putting in the application that we would like to be able to swap property owners in and out of the list. If we have some drop out, we'd like to add a few, but for the most part, this is going to be people that have already expressed interest and have already sort of initiated the process.
Wonderful.
And then in the meantime, more property owners can certainly still sign up. They can get onto the Tri-County Fire Safe Working Group website, and then we'll continue to look for grant opportunities for those people.
And let's just reaffirm, who should they apply to? Who should they get contact?
That will be Tri-County Fire Safe Working Group. They will be our contractor, and they'll be managing the project.
Is there a website or for them to contact, right?
It rolls right off the tongue. It's our initials, tcfswg.org.
Wonderful.
We need to fix that someday, but that's what it is right now. Firesafehelena.org does work as well, yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you for what you do.
Okay. Are there any public comments regarding this matter? Seeing no public comments, let's entertain a motion.
Chair Payne, I would move to approve the grant application of the Montana Department of Military Affairs Disaster and Emergency Services Division as explained by Kyle Sturgill-Simon.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve this grant application. Is there any further comments from the commission? Tom? Andy?
Thank you.
All right. It has been moved and seconded that we approve the grant application to the Montana Department of Military Affairs Disaster and Emergency Services Division as presented by Mr. Kyle Sturgill-Simon. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. I really thought +4s was a term for golf shoes. Isn't that plus one? No, look, this is shoes. Old school, old school. You wouldn't, it was before, yeah, it was when. Yeah. All right. Next on the agenda, item, oh, you again. Good morning. Next on the agenda, item 3C, Resolution 2025-78 to levy and assess the Eastgate 1 Rural Improvement District number 1978-1 to be presented by Jessica Makis. Good morning, Jessica.
Good morning, Chair Payne, Commissioners. My name is Jessica Makis, Special Districts Coordinator for Lewis and Clark County. Today you'll be holding public hearing to hear comments and objections regarding the final adoption of a resolution to levy and assess an annual special assessment of $260 upon each benefiting property within the Eastgate 1 Rural Improvement District. You can see this district on your map just outside the East Helena city boundary, and it's this area in purple. With a total of 372 benefiting properties, a total of $96,720 will be assessed annually to fund maintenance of the RID. The Eastgate 1 RID was created in 1978 to maintain the road network within the Eastgate 1 subdivision. Maintenance provided by this district includes snow plowing and sanding, signage, culvert cleaning, sweeping, pothole patching, crack sealing, chip sealing, and other maintenance as necessary to preserve improvements. The maintenance assessment for this district was set at $75 per property per year in 1978 and has not gone up. As a result, maintenance in this district has been deferred, and the current budget is unsustainable to provide the services listed above. An increase to the assessment will ensure annual maintenance in Eastgate 1 RID can be completed as detailed in the resolution that created this district. This is a total increase of $185 per property per year for a total assessment of $260 per property per year. Property owners were invited to an evening meeting on December 19th, 2024, which coincided with the subdivision's annual HOA meeting at Eastgate Elementary to discuss the need for this increase. 36 property owners attended. Legal notice of the increase in the public hearing was sent to all benefiting property owners and published in the Helena Independent Record on August 2nd and August 9th. As of yesterday, 2 letters, protest letters have been received for a total of less than 1% of benefiting properties for this district. In addition, 1 letter of support was also received, and I'll hand those out to each of you as those came in after the posting of this memo and materials. Staff recommend approval of the resolution to levy and assess the district. I'll hand out these letters for your review, and I'm happy to address that specific public comment and also any others that obviously come up today. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you.
I see in our packet, we have a letter in support that was included by our staff. So I don't know if that's one of what you're handing out.
Chair Payne, that is one of the letters that would be duplicative then. You have that already in your packet, but I did include that just in case today because I know that just came in yesterday. Additionally, there are 2 letters of protest included for you today. One addresses, it does not so much protest the use of this increase for road maintenance. It protests the use of this increase towards storm drainage improvements. I want to be very clear that what we're proposing today is an increase only for road maintenance. During that December meeting that I spoke at, we did present findings of our storm water drainage study that was done with Great West primarily through a grant with the Department of Natural Resources and Conservation. I want to be clear that the roads in this district were put in 1978. The average lifespan of an asphalt road is about 30 years. We are obviously beyond that time frame. We will continue to maintain these roads as long as we can using these funds. At some point in the future, the asphalt roads here will begin to unravel. We will get to a point where it's no longer worth putting these maintenance dollars into this road network. And at that point, we will have to consider new improvements. That can be, that's when this rural improvement district will have run its course. At that point, we can dissolve this district, but it will be up to residents to decide what to do next. They can create a new district for a new improvement to keep going with the rural improvement district administered by the county and that model that we've been operating under. Or residents can also work with their homeowners association or another type of private organization to maintain their own roadways if they would prefer. At that point, I would also recommend that this subdivision look at stormwater generated in this subdivision and address that at the same time that they consider a new improvement or rebuilding these roads. When this district went in the late 70s, stormwater was not required to be maintained or contained within the subdivision. That's something that a new subdivision today would have to do. You would not be allowed to let that stormwater run out of the subdivision. You'd have to retain it in ponds or some other kind of storage network. Because that does not exist here, what the recommendation from the engineering firm that did this study would recommend putting infiltration infrastructure under the roadway to store that stormwater and make sure that it's not exiting the subdivision at that point. We're not recommending that at this time, but if this area got to a point where it had to consider a new improvement, that's when we would suggest that, when that road's being rebuilt or something like that, to be clear. So that does address one of the protest letters. Again, to be clear, this increase is only for road maintenance for these, original roads. The other protest letter is simply a protest letter against the increase. And I'm happy to take any questions.
I'll just bet you are, by golly. So if there's nothing done about the stormwater and we proceed with assessing this and keeping up the roads, won't the fact that there's no stormwater, nobody's taking care of that it will continue to deteriorate the roads that we're just trying to fix?
Chair Payne, that's a great question. One of the challenges specifically in Eastgate 1, and then we'll talk, in Eastgate 2 as well, these were put in around a similar time. They have an interesting kind of the curb walk, I think they refer to it as, where it's just a really narrow stretch of concrete that's been placed alongside the road. But in fact, it's not alongside the road. It was actually placed directly on top of the asphalt. Instead of digging a footer and pouring concrete like you would for a sidewalk or something like that. That has been placed directly on the asphalt, which has created a problem in that water has been able to infiltrate underneath. Sediment accumulates there. You get weed growth in that area. And that is further contributing to the deterioration of this roadway. You do have to address stormwater. We get a lot of comments about stormwater. I'm not having a stormwater issue. There's no stormwater issue.
Yeah.
Just because a resident is not accumulating stormwater on their individual property does not mean that their property is not generating stormwater that is then impacting the road network. All of our impervious surfaces, our roofs, our decks or patios, driveways, that all accumulate stormwater that can contribute, as well as the entire road surface, right? So if we're not storing that, if we're not keeping that off the road network, it can cause significant damage to roads over time. And specifically, depending on where that goes, I think honestly a lot of Eastgate 1's stormwater does eventually flow on outside of the subdivision. So something to address in the future.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions?
Just a comment. I just applied the inflation escalator on there. Asked the question, what would $75 in 1978 be equivalent to today? And it came up with $371.60. So you are not even keeping up with inflation to do the whole thing. So I'm glad that you're not trying to do everything that you were doing with the first one, with a little over a doubling of the amount. And because it probably wouldn't be possible. There's going to be more expense when that time comes. So makes good sense to me, but that just applying inflation, it would be, to the $75 would be a lot higher than it is now. That what you're proposing.
Chair Payne, Commissioner Rolfe. So we're proposing here to make sure that we can get through at least one more chip seal cycle on this road network. At that point, if we can continue to maintain these roads, we will. But I at least want to make sure we see it through that next cycle, and we'll reevaluate as possible then.
Thank you.
Thank you. Andy, anything?
Chair Payne, if I could. Good morning. Thank you. I appreciate Commissioner Rolfe going through the inflation factor there, because it paints a good picture. But I just want, from an explanation standpoint, just kind of how we got here, why the 260 now. And it's obvious that we should have probably been incrementally increasing this over the years so that it doesn't all happen at once, but this is where we are right now. And in order to maintain you talked about potential future needs and those kinds of things, but in order to maintain what we have right now, this is what it's going to take to continue on with just keeping status quo, correct? And then just kind of how we got here and why, I guess, a little bit of that. So just from an explanation purposes. Thank you.
Yeah, Chair Payne and Commissioner Hunhelsman, thank you. So Eastgate 1 is our oldest rural improvement district in the county. This is number one. We had to start somewhere, and this is where it started. I cannot speak to a lot of the previous history of this district. I think we were able to continue on maintaining this district for a period of time. I know, though, in the early 2000s time period, this is where it started to become problematic. I know former employee Jesse Whitford worked with an engineering firm to have a pacer analysis done on these roads, and then also the roads in Eastgate 2 to try to put them on a schedule for maintenance and increase the assessment. I believe it was brought to the commission in 2017. At that time, it was very heavily protested. I wasn't here at that time, but my understanding is it was heavily protested, and at that time, the assessment was not increased. One of the other challenges, just in how these were managed for staff capacity and all of that, because Eastgate 1 and Eastgate 2 are so similar. Eastgate 2 came right after Eastgate 1 in 1978. The assessment amounts at that $75 per property per year were also the same. And those funds were held together. And so I know at that time, a lot of the protest, there was some feeling that one district wasn't getting equal attention as the other. These could not be combined. We worked with former employee Nancy Everson to have these split several years ago. They were split proportionately. So, because they pay the same amount per property per year, there are 372 benefiting properties in Eastgate 1. There are 266 benefiting properties in Eastgate 2. That fund was split proportionately based on the number of properties in each district, and those have been maintained separately since that time. So we have cleaned up that issue. And here we are again today. We have talked with these districts, with the homeowners available as possible to communicate that this need is here. I would say, with Eastgate 1 in particular, the amount of pothole patching that we've been doing has been around the $20,000 mark per year, which is generally more than they're bringing in annual income. So that is the situation we're in, where we're not even bringing in enough to continue to patch the potholes, let alone to be able to run that chip seal cycle to maintain those roads and keep the water off those surfaces over time. So this increase is very much needed. And it's my hope that with this increase, we can continue to, as I said, maintain these roads as long as we possibly can.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
With this information, okay, so we've been collecting $75 from each homeowner out there. but it's been costing about, I don't remember what Tom said, but say it's $100. Then where does the $25 come from? Is that coming out of my rural improvement or my road improvement district? Is it coming out of our schools? Who's paying? Somebody's paying it. Where do we get the money?
Chair Payne, I want to be very clear that when these district assessments are created, the revenue that comes from these districts can only be used on that particular district. So there is no subsidy of other funds that's coming into this district. What's happened is the maintenance has been deferred. So this district went for, instead of going, on a 7-year chip seal cycle, I don't think these roads have been chip sealed. They were done last year, but until that time, I don't think they'd been done for at least, I want to say, probably 15 years. So that maintenance is simply deferred if there's not adequate funds in that account. Again, each of these rural improvement district funds are maintained completely independently from each other. And there is no additional support or funding available from the county.
Okay, so it looks to me like if people are not willing to pay more to have their roads maintained, they won't be.
Chair Payne, that's correct. And I think, if we cannot continue, if we cannot move forward and increase an assessment, then the next step would be to dissolve it and move forward that way. Spend out the remaining funds on the road, no longer assess any funds. And once that account has been drawn to zero, we would dissolve that district, and individuals could, use that assessment money that they were paying, or, whatever needs to go into that road. They could do that through a private mechanism like an HOA or another type of organization.
Okay. Thank you. Any further questions, comments?
Chair
Okay.
Payne, just
Yeah,
for
Andy?
education purposes again, like you said, I think you mentioned this, but since 2019 is when you've been here and when we've kind of stepped up our game. We've actually added staff and really tried to pay attention to these RIDs, which you can see this is one that kind of just moved along at $75 without much attention to it over the years. So since 2019, we've been really trying to, I say we as a team here, but you've been really trying to look at these on an annual basis, which we're required to do, and then annually decide whether there's enough dollars in those funds. And if there isn't, to try and work with the folks from that community to develop a plan to move forward like we're doing today. And you've done that for all 150 RIDs that we have. And some have gone up, some have gone down, some have stayed the same. We just went through the ones that had gone down. We just went through the ones, 112, I think, stayed the same. And now we're going through the series of this group that needs an increase in order to maintain their current level of service. So I just wanted to, from an education standpoint, talk about that, because I think some people are wondering, well, why now? All of a sudden, we're jumping up, but we're paying attention now. We're trying to make sure that these accounts have enough in them to do the job, correct? And then also, I think another question might be, well, I pay my property taxes. Why isn't this covered in that? And I think there's a pretty clear explanation for that. And we've talked about that on many occasions, where those folks that live in a community or in a subdivision are essentially responsible for the maintenance of the roads in their subdivision in front of their house. And then our general taxes, and the part that portion that may come to Public Works that goes toward road maintenance, is for those everybody roads like Lake Helena Drive and Wiley Drive and Sierra Road and on, those kinds of roads around the county that we have high cost to maintain them as well, but those are through all of us pay in our general taxes. So the road in front of the street in front of our house, everyone participates in that maintenance. And so just from explanatory purposes, just I don't know if you want to add to that or talk about that a little bit and how that works.
Chair Payne, Commissioner Hunthausen, thank you. I'm happy to address that. So, and you're right. Since 2019, the Commission added more capacity to this program with that growing number of rural improvement districts that the county was seeing. Starting about 2005 era, new subdivisions were getting RIDs for road maintenance at least. And so that number really started to grow, with the growth that we've seen in this county. And so in 2019, my position was added. Also, an RID construction coordinator was added as well. Prior to that, there was one position in a half-time capacity overseeing rural improvement district maintenance, then while also splitting his time with the road department. So quite a bit of additional capacity has been added to this program. And with that, we're able to do a lot more, to have these public engagement meetings in the evening when most people can come, hopefully, after work, that time frame rather than during, the business day. I'm going to try to communicate some of these needs. Staff also do review these budgets every year. So we do look at the anticipated revenue that's projected to come in versus the anticipated expenses of all of these districts, and then come up with these recommendations to either increase, remain the same, or even decrease if we see a large cash balance growing, beyond what is needed for our annual maintenance. With inflation, we have a lot more increases than decreases, but we still do review that in the same way. So that's a little bit of how we look at that budget annually with the additional capacity that we do have. As far as we hear a lot. I pay my property taxes. Why do I have to pay this additional assessment for a special district? And those are very separate. And as Commissioner Hunthausen, as you pointed out, those general property taxes go towards those, as you call them, everybody roads, right? So when you leave Eastgate 1, you're going up Lake Helena Drive, right? And Lake Helena Drive is maintained by the county. Valley Drive, Wiley Drive, as you leave these subdivisions, as people do, we go on those main corridors, those main roads throughout the county. And those are the ones that the county has to focus on with the revenue that they have, to keep those maintained, to keep them free of snow, to keep the bulk of the traffic and the traveling public safe as possible. Because the county has to focus their limited funds on those everybody roads, we do have this other option to have a county administered rural improvement district for the subdivisions. This work is primarily done with contractors. We go through a procurement effort to get a pool of contractors available to do the work. And that frees up our county road department to focus on those main corridors.
Thank you. Thank
Welcome.
you, Chair Payne.
Thank you. There's no more questions from the commission. Are there any public comments, please? No public comments. Seeing none, it's time for a motion.
Chair Payne, I'd move that we approve Resolution 2025-78 to levy and assess the Eastgate 1 Rural Improvement District number 1978-1 as presented by Ms. Makis.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve Resolution 2025-78 as presented by Jessica Makis. Is there any further comment from the commission?
Chair Payne, if I could just thanking Jessica, the hard work, answered a lot of questions, a lot of phone calls, and often we get calls and emails and we pass them on to you, the expert, to explain to folks about how things work and why. And I appreciate the conversation. It's always challenging when you have to raise rates like this, but for a clear reason and benefit to the community. And we hope that we can continue to have a high level of service for those areas. And as you said, there may be some improvements down the road, but right now trying to maintain what's there. So thank you. Thanks, Chair.
Yes, I have a comment. One of the letters that is attached to this agenda item is a letter in support. And the letter in support reminds us that the homeowners have made an investment in their property and it needs upkeep. If you don't, paint it once in a while or fix the roof, or you got to put money into your investment so it maintains its value. And that's what this letter talks about. They see the value of making an additional investment for street upkeep and maintenance through the RID. So we have a few people who object, but I think many of those people, well, there was nobody making any comments when I asked them to. I think this is just something we have to bite the bullet. We have to fix the roof on our house every once in a while. We have to fix the roads that drive by it. There endeth my comment. Tom, do you have anything?
The only thought that I had was, maybe we should find a way have an automatic cost escalator every 4 years or something like that, so that we wouldn't have to go through a process of a huge jump later on, because every year we have inflation that really isn't our fault. That's the fault of the federal government. It's something we have to live with, and maybe there should be maybe every 4 years an automatic cost escalator on these that would help. Don't know whether that's legal or not, but I think it's something maybe to explore.
I think our legal beagle is over there catching flies. What's going on? Are you?
Yeah.
Commissioners, just trying to stave off a sneeze, that's all.
Trying to what?
Stave off a sneeze. I was going to sneeze, that's all.
Perfect. Okay. It has been moved and seconded. We've talked this thing into oblivion. So all those in favor of approving action item 3C, the resolution 2025-78 to levy and assess the Eastgate 1 Rural Improvement District number 1978-1 as presented by Jessica Makis, indicate by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Next on the agenda, 3D, Resolution 2025-79 to levy and assess the Eastgate 2 Rural Improvement District number 1979-1 to be presented by Jessica Makis.
Thank you, Chair Payne. Again, for the record, Jessica Makis, Special Districts Coordinator for Lewis and Clark County. Today, you'll be holding public hearing to hear comments and objections regarding the final adoption of a resolution to levy and assess an annual special assessment of $250 upon each benefiting property within the Eastgate 2 Rural Improvement District. This district has a total of 266 benefiting properties, and a total of $66,500 will be assessed annually to fund maintenance of this RID. You can see this RID. This is just to the north of Eastgate 1 that we just reviewed, but this is also just outside that East Helena city boundary. This district was created in 1979 to maintain the road network within the Eastgate 2 subdivision, again, just located right off Lake Helena Drive. Maintenance provided by this district includes snow plowing and sanding, signage, sweeping, pothole patching, crack sealing, chip sealing, and other maintenance as necessary to preserve the road improvements. Again, this maintenance assessment was set at $75 per property per year in 1979. This assessment has not been increased since then, and the current budget is unsustainable to provide the services listed above. I also want to mention for this particular district that the maintenance proposed, the increase today, does not include some of those services for Remington Street, running east-west at the south portion of this district, or Boundary Street. The maintenance that we're looking at for those two roads within this district are just pothole patching and snow plowing. These roads have met the end of their functional life. So we're talking about an increase today primarily for the north-south roads within this district to continue to preserve those as long as possible. We will plan to hold public meetings, an engagement process to look at options for rebuilding Boundary Street as well as Remington Street, and engaging those Eastgate 2 property owners that use this district, as well as the additional property owners to the east of this district that also benefit from those two roadways. So this will, more to come for these two roads, certainly in the future. There will have to be, quite a citizen initiative, and it'll be up to property owners whether or not they want to go through with a new rural improvement district or a different option. And we'll present those options to folks in future meetings. But I do want to be clear that the maintenance before you today does not include anything beyond just making those roads passable through pothole patching as well as snow plowing efforts. But future chip seals, things like that, those higher cost, lower frequency items will not be applied to either of those two roads, just the internal north-south roads. An increase to the assessment, again, will ensure that annual maintenance in Eastgate 2 can be completed annually. This is a total increase of $175 per property per year for a total assessment of $250 per property per year. An invite was sent to all property owners in the district and held in conjunction with the Eastgate 2 HOA meeting on the evening of January 30th, 2025 at Eastgate Elementary. There were a total of 33 residents in attendance. Legal notice of the increase in the public hearing was sent to all benefiting property owners and published in the Helena Independent Record on August 2nd and August 9th. As of yesterday, no written testimony has been received for this district. Staff recommend approval of the resolution to levy and assess the district, and I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Any questions, Andy?
Chair Payne, thank you for the explanation about Remington and Boundary, and the need is last year, 5 years ago for those streets. I think everybody recognizes that they're in tough shape. However, this is encouraging in the sense that there are a lot more people benefiting from those two streets than have been paying in. So by doing this in a different manner and reworking this is an opportunity really for Eastgate 2 residents to share that with all the people that now live to the east of them and use those roads. And they should all participate in maintaining Boundary and Remington and any solution that's going to come forward. So I just want to say I'm encouraged about that, even though I've been on them many times, got some friends that live in that area, and so visit there, and they're pretty rough. But I get that Eastgate 2 shouldn't have to take on that entire burden. So spreading that out over all the people that live in the area now is much more appropriate from my perspective. So thanks for that explanation, and ready to move forward, Chair Payne. Thank you.
Tom, do you have anything?
Just a comment, that if you apply the inflation escalator since 79 on that $75 one, it would have come out at $344.97. Almost $100 more than what you're proposing right now. So I just, while it may seem like a big jump all at once, we just aren't keeping up with inflation to do what needs to be done.
Chair Payne.
Andy? Yes.
Sorry, Commissioner Rolfe just reminded me. So your comment from the last one about doing this on a regular basis, looking at inflation, I think that's essentially what we're doing now. So we look at it annually, and so Jessica looks at it and do we need an inflationary increase now? Prior to 2019, we weren't doing any of that, but in the last few years that you've been on the job, we've now done that annually. And I think that inflationary factor will be applied if, like next year, the year after, if there needs to be an incremental increase, a lot easier to take a $30 or $50 increase than it is a $175 increase. So I think that's exactly what's happening now. So I just wanted to make that comment.
You bet.
Chair Payne and Commissioner Rolfe, Commissioner Hunthausen, to that point, by statute, we are to assess these every year. So that's why you see me, even though, we don't have any change, right? We still have to go through this process with a special assessment to allow the opportunity for public comment, for this participation, and for people to know, what that special district does and what that assessment is. And so, the exactly moving forward, and I think this effort did start, before my time with the county. I know many increases were proposed in 2017. I think that was starting to happen more as we, we're starting to recognize some of these deficits. But moving forward, by statute today, we are looking at these on an annual basis, and you will continue to see me every summer up here with increases, decreases, and staying the same. So we will continue with that effort.
Thanks. Thanks, Chair Payne.
And that make, if I might, I think that's exactly what needs to be done. And we did a few days ago deal with 112 districts around the county that there was no change on. And then we had a half a dozen or so where you were able to recommend a reduction, actually. So it's important that we do what you're doing, and I really appreciate the detail that you deal with it. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm going to jump in here. We get a lot of, at least I get a certain amount of grief about growth in government. We just keep growing our government bigger and bigger. However, if we did not have Jessica Makis as one of our employees, this reassessment would not get done. And I have an idea that's why it wasn't looked at closely before you came on. I think there was a period of time and people are saying, well, they didn't, they have to do their regular work. They don't have time to do this. Anyway, just a comment.
Thank you, Chair Payne. We do have, I have an excellent administrative assistant that helps with a lot of these. I would say, through this process, we have about over 12,000 mailings of legal notice that have to go.
I thought you were going to say employees.
No. Yeah, we have about 3, but
We're supposed to have 3 and we have 1.
yeah. Anyway, so she has taken the lion's share of preparing all of these for review and making sure that these are getting done. And then we have our construction coordinators and the other, staff people that are physically on the ground looking at these areas. So it's a good team and it's a critical team, and I'm thankful to have them on board.
Okay. Thank you, Jessica. Are there any public comments to this? Aha.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. My name is Joe Konauer. You spell that Cohenour. I am the chair of the Eastgate Homeowners Association Board of Directors. And
excuse me, is this Eastgate 1 or 2 or
2,
both?
I'm sorry.
2. Okay, thank you.
Just 2. We're severed, so we don't have a combined anymore. So before I start my comments, I want to just thank Jessica for bringing this forward. I know it's her job, but she showed up at public meetings at night, taking time away from her family and kids to come and entertain us with this. So, this is not a sudden thing. We've been discussing this for almost 20 years in Eastgate too. And so her predecessor, Jesse, I actually went to college with him, and brought it forward. We talked about it. He didn't have the capacity, being part-time with all the other work that he did. Jessica came on, 6 years ago, and took the reins on this, and we're going forward at a good pace. We have failing roads, just like you guys said. A house is our big investment, our largest investment we're ever going to make. And if you got a leaky roof, you fix it. If you got a broken window, you fix it. We have broken roads. We need to fix them. And this is our way to go forward, fixing these roads. I did the math also. $75 today doesn't buy a lot. These guys buy asphalt rakes to lay out this asphalt. It won't even buy an asphalt rake anymore. So it's time that we do this. It's time that we move forward. And so, once again, I'd like to thank Jessica. You know, no one likes to get their taxes raised. But this is a necessity because we do have failing roads. So I do ask you to support this resolution.
Thank you. Is there any further public comment? Seeing no further public comment, I'll entertain a motion.
Chair Payne, I will move to approve Resolution 2025-79 to levy and assess the Eastgate 2 Rural Improvement District number 1979-1, as explained by Jessica Makis.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve agenda item 3D, the resolution 2025-79 to levy and assess the Eastgate 2 Rural Improvement District number 1979-1 as presented by Jessica Makis. Is there any further comment from the commission? I think we've about commented this out enough. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda. Oh, goodbye, folks. Nice that you could be here. Next item on the agenda, 3F, Resolution 2025-81, approving the tax abatement application of Matthew,
Did we miss E?
whoop, E, oops, sorry.
One more.
I knew this
There you
was
go.
going too
Sorry.
smoothly. Now it's to keep you on your
I
toes. Okay, 3E, Resolution 2025-80 to levy and assess the 46 degrees North Road Rural Improvement District number 2017-1 and will be presented by our friend Jessica Makis.
Thank you, Chair Payne. Again, for the record, Jessica Makis, Special Districts Coordinator for Lewis and Clark County. This is our last one for rural improvement districts, at least this morning, but these do run together, I know. Today, you'll be holding public hearing to hear comments and objections regarding the final adoption of a resolution to levy and assess an annual special assessment of $245 upon each benefiting property within the 46 degrees North Rural Improvement District. With a total of 92 benefiting properties, a total of $22,540 will be assessed annually to fund maintenance of the RID. 46 Degrees North Road Rural Improvement District was created in 2017 to maintain the road network within the 46 Degrees North subdivision located off North Montana Avenue. This is just to the north of the Resurrection Cemetery and Target area, just to the south of Treasure State Acres subdivision to the north. Maintenance provided by this district includes snow plowing, signage, culvert cleaning, sweeping, the bus waiting area maintenance, crack sealing, chip sealing, and other maintenance as necessary to preserve the road improvements. The maintenance assessment was set at $147.83 per property per year when the first phase of the 46 Degrees North subdivision was created in 2017. When the second phase was completed, the additional road footages of the road infrastructure were not added to our budget spreadsheets. This was an oversight by our department, and this has been corrected. Unfortunately, with this error, plus the increased cost of road maintenance due to inflation over that same period of time, this has resulted in a projected budget shortfall for future maintenance in this district. An increase to the assessment will ensure that annual maintenance in 46 Degrees North Road Rural Improvement District can be completed as detailed in the resolution that created the district. This is a total increase of $97.17 per property per year for a total assessment of $245 per property per year. An evening meeting was held with residents, again in conjunction with their HOA meeting, to discuss the need for this increase, and that was held on January 27th, 2025. Legal notice of the increase in the public hearing was sent to all benefiting property owners and published in the Helena Independent Record on August 2nd and August 9th. As of August 18th, 2025, no written testimony has been received. Staff recommend approval of the resolution to levy and assess the district, and I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Any questions from the commission? Andy?
None.
This is, we're getting into kind of a pace here, aren't we? Okay, there's no questions from the commission. Are there any public comments? Ooh, I think we've got a hot one in the back row. Any public comment? Nope. Okay. In that case, I think we need a motion.
Chair Payne, I'd move that we approve resolution 2025-80 to levy and assess the 46 Degrees North Road Rural Improvement District number 2017-1 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution 2025-80 to levy and assess the 46 Degree North Road Rural Improvement District number 2017-1. Is there any further discussion from commission? Nope. Okay. In that case, all those in favor of approving resolution 2025-80 as presented by Jessica Makis indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Jessica. Now, on to item 3F, resolution 2025-81, approving the tax abatement application of Matthew Culpo and Christine Kenneth for property located at 3 Washington Place in the city of Helena, Montana, to be presented by Frank Cornwell's substitute person.
Good morning, Chair Payne, Commissioners. For the record, Misty Edwards, County Finance, and Mr. Cornwell couldn't be here today, so you get me in his absence.
Great.
And today you'll be holding a public hearing to hear comments regarding a tax abatement application for historic property located at 3 Washington Place. On March 6th, 2025, Matthew Culpo and Christine Tennis applied for a tax abatement as provided in MCA 1524-1601. This section of the law allows local governments to grant tax abatements for the restoration, rehabilitation, expansion, and new construction of certified residential and commercial properties located with National Historic Districts and properties listed in the National Register of Historic Places. The applicants are requesting that Lewis and Clark County and the City of Helena consider granting an abatement for property taxes associated with new residential construction on the property. The project is for construction of a 16 by 29 by 21 and a half foot structure containing 464 square feet residential garage with an upper level dwelling unit. The tax abatement, if granted, would begin the year during construction and for 5 years after the completion of construction. It is expected to run from tax year 2026 through tax year 2030. The application was approved by the Historic Preservation Council on April 15th, 2025, and it will be heard by the City of Helena on September 8th. The estimated value of the tax abatement for the first year is approximately $580. And Madam Chair, the applicant is here if you would like to. Yes.
I'm so glad that he's here and going to comment. Thank you. Do you have any question from the commission?
Chair Payne, just for history's sake, this is kind of second of tax abatement that we did on, already built on the property, and this is the garage portion, correct? Just for
Madam Chair, Commissioner Hunhausen, that is correct. We granted an abatement for essentially a duplex in 2022 on that property. Construction was finished probably in the last year. This is the garage behind it.
So, Chair Payne, the reason I mention that is just that we have already done a tax abatement on this property, and so there's a history of doing that there, and it seemed to work well. The recommendation is to approve. I'm just kind of, it's not outside of our bounds of past practices, I guess, is what I'm trying to say for the commission's history there. Thanks.
In doing this, so basically anybody within that district, that historic district, or with a historic property, can apply for this abatement for 5 years, and then it goes back to the original pre-abatement formula.
Commissioner Payne, Commissioner Rolfe, that is correct. Anybody within that district can apply through the Historic Preservation Council. They must approve it first. And once if the abatement is granted, it does revert back to the original taxable value for taxes at the end of the abatement period.
And the amount that we're talking about is just the amount of tax on this new addition to the property. Is that right?
Commissioner Rolfe, that is correct.
Okay. Then it goes back. I'm looking up the taxes on this property. The assessed value has just jumped on that property, I suppose, because of this, or is that the previous portion of the property?
That Commissioner Rolfe, that's the previous portion. This abatement would only be on the new construction, so it wouldn't be on the property in its entirety.
And was the abatement that we approved on the previous abatement, was it for 5 years as well?
Commissioner Rolfe, yes.
And that's kind of the standard, and that's the maximum that can be given.
That is the
is
maximum that
right?
statute allows, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I'm looking at the color photograph on page 5, and the little garage at the end of the 2-track going in, that's the building?
Commissioner Payne, I don't have the photo in front of me.
No, I can, so that it was removed, and the other picture is what's there now.
So this
Was removed a few years ago, and this picture that's there now is what's been built, and behind it, there's going to be another garage, is what we're talking about for this tax
so
abatement.
there is now a property here next
Yeah,
to the
this
street.
one right here that's on
Okay.
your picture.
And this one then will be a renovation of that back.
Well, that's gone. I think they're proposing to build a new garage back there. Correct. We'll hear.
You know,
Commissioner
I
Payne,
would
Mr.
like to
Hunhausen,
have
that
this
is
gentleman.
correct.
That's
It's a new build, a brand new
yeah,
build.
new build.
Brand new.
Yes.
Oh. Can't believe those historic preservationists let you get rid of that. Okay. Any further questions? I think at this point, we could ask the owner of the property to come up and explain his hopes and dreams, or at least his reasoning.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Matt Culpo. I live at 34 North Benton Avenue, which is just basically across the street from this property. So you have I brought in a few pictures. I don't know if they're easier to look at. Willing to pass them up to you guys if you want. Those pictures are what was approved in 2022. Thank you.
And you don't live on this property, you live across the street from it?
Yep. So that's the house that was approved for the abatement in 2022, and then I'm building a garage with a dwelling unit in the back. It faces the alley, and it will be of similar construction, similar siding and similar colors and everything like that.
What? Oh,
Yep, one for
I
each.
didn't know we could keep. I think these guys stay up late just to think of ways to embarrass me. A question I have, the parking for this third unit, where will they park?
So the one you're looking at has a parking space in front, and a street parking space, and then the garage in the back will obviously have a garage space, but there's also a space in front of the garage and a space next to the garage.
Okay.
So there's 4 spaces on the property.
That's fine,
I
thank you.
just, you know, I really like the historic nature of Helena. I appreciate the opportunity to apply for this abatement. I see other properties developed in the city that are in the historic districts, but they design them and build them more modern, contemporary. I'm not sure if people are aware of the abatement or they just don't want to deal with it, but I've had good luck with it. I like the historic nature of Helena and the neighborhoods and my neighborhood. And, you know, to me, it's worth the extra money to spend on the building and work with the Historic Preservation District to get it looking, you know, like a building that would fit in with the neighborhood. Some of the things they do are the grids in the windows, the double doors in the front. You know, we added some grids in there. They do long, tall, narrow windows. They're grouped together. The windows are grouped together versus, you know, like a large open window. They're more like almost look like 2 windows together or 3 windows together, just to match some of the historic characteristics. The hipped roof with the slope is another thing that they do, that they require. There's a little bit on the color and the siding, not a lot, but I spent a lot of time on picking out the colors. And the front door, I know it's hard to see in the picture, but the front door, and there's a window there that's stained glass that I salvaged from a property that I bought and had to tear down on the other side of town. It was referred to I think it was referred to as the Red Ghetto on Rodney and Cutler. So there was 3 doors in there. I took them all out. 3 windows that were stained glass. I took them out. I spent a lot of time over the winter stripping them down and getting them to look nice. And I put one of the doors and one of the windows back in this building. So that I just kind of just a little pet project. And yeah, got that one done. And then I'm here applying for the garage in the back.
I bet you haven't had any trouble renting out these
No,
units, have you?
no,
They're very attractive.
Right. I rent it. I'm close by. I, you know, take good care of it. I will be using the garage. I have some kids. My kids, if they decide they want to move out of the house, they could move into the carriage house, but at some point that'll happen. It hasn't happened yet, but currently we'll use the garage, but we'll rent out the space above.
Okay, so the parking space for that unit is not really the garage. Whoever you rent that upper will have to park.
Yeah, I
outside?
I own the property next to it also. So I have 3 properties there. And so when I dug out the property for the garage, we removed a lot of dirt because it was a hill and you could really only just park one car, sort of pull off the alley and parallel park. Well, I dug all that out and dug it across to the other properties so that there's another new space back there behind the neighboring existing property. So I've created 5 off-street parking spaces with the building. So there's going to be a space for the person living in this ADU in the back, and we'll also be able to use the garage without, and you know, we'll have a space to park off street
Sure.
as well.
Okay, well,
So I've
thank you
exceeded.
for your imagination. I think this is
Yeah.
a wonderful project.
It did come out well, and I've exceeded the parking requirements is what I've
Okay.
done.
Thank you. Any questions, Tom? You want to?
If I might, one of the addendums here is the amount of the abatement. And so you're not applying for any abatement on the school district, but you're applying for it from the city and the county. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, my understanding, and I could be corrected, but I don't think you can get an abatement on the school portion. I think that's the only piece, but I'm not 100% sure. I know that that's that you still have to pay taxes on the school, and I know that like the land that's there gets taxed at its normal rate, and I don't know if school taxes on the land and then gets increased with the building or not, or if it's already just with the land that's there. So there is tax paid on the lot itself. It's the abatement is just on the building.
And so once the end of this is done, there'd be approximately $1,200-1,300 more. You're losing, you're getting by without having to pay about $1,300 a year for the 5-year period.
Yeah.
And then after that, it goes back to the normal.
It would go back, it would go to whatever the assessed value is of that building at that time. So if it's if it's 100,000 today, the building, not the land, but the building, and then in 5 years it's 150,000, say, I'll be taxed at the $150,000 value of the building plus the land that I've already been paying all along.
And if I might again.
Yes, Tom.
But what this amounts to is like for this next year, 682 to the county and 514 to the city.
Yeah.
That they won't get.
They won't get that.
But you will pay tax normally on the ground and on the rest of the properties. I guess the one portion that was already set up for abatement would be out for a couple 3 more years.
Yeah, I mean that's going to expire a year or two before this one, so the Department of Revenue has some math to do and figuring all this out. And I know it's been a challenge because I don't think very many people know about this program. You know, I mean, personally, I wish more people did because I do see properties get developed, like I was saying, in historic districts, but they're contemporary design. So I don't know where I was going with that, but anyway.
Since I've been here, I think these two the one previous and this one are the only ones I recall. Commissioner Hunthausen has more history on that if it's been used by anybody else.
I don't think it has, Chairman, Commissioner Roth. I don't think it has. I don't remember it. We've done commercial properties, of course, the abatements, but not this particular program. Yeah, I think you're the only one since I've been here.
The historic abatement. So I have a property on Pine Street in Helena, in a historic district by Rodney, and an abatement was approved for that in about 2019.
Oh, I don't remember. So I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
Do you tell your friends about this opportunity?
What's that?
Do you tell your friends who are doing this kind of work?
I don't.
You don't have any
know
friends?
anybody that's doing what I'm doing. I'm just kind of doing this on the side, you know.
Okay.
I have a regular job and stuff, and this was just something I've always done on the side. But I think the Pine Street house was the first one you had seen in a long time.
Okay.
And then I had this other property over by where I live, so I finally just got around to building a building on that.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Let's see, any other public comment? Seeing none, let's have a motion.
Chair Payne, I'd move that we approve Resolution 2025-81, approving the tax abatement application for Matthew Holpo and Christine Tennis for the property located at 3 Washington Place in the city of Helena, as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve Resolution 2025-81. Is there any further comments?
Chair
from
Payne,
Andy? Mhm.
just a comment about partly why I support this. I think it's one of the only tools that local government has to encourage this kind of activity. And like you said, we heard from our applicant that could have maybe built something much different there. And so to honor the kind of the historic neighborhoods, and this is one way that we can encourage that and participate in new development in the community and infill, and also a view to the long term, because after these 5 years, if you look at the buildings around this one, they've all been paying taxes for over 100 years. And so I'm looking forward to the next 100 years of contributing to the community from a tax perspective. We got to get it on the ground first. So this is one way that we can participate and contribute to that. Thanks.
Thank you, Andy. That's very true. Okay, it's been moved and seconded.
If I
Oh,
might just comment on it, I've had,
Uh-oh. Yes, Tom.
yeah, I've had a little hesitation about this, but I think that the discussion of the extra cost of doing it in a historical manner, and kind of keeping the general flavor of that neighborhood is a positive thing. And it is only for 5 years, so I'm going to go ahead and support it.
Good. So it's been moved and seconded that we approve Resolution 2025-81, approving the tax abatement application of Matthew Culpo and Christine Tennis. All those in favor of approving this resolution indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. The time has now come for public comment on any public matter within the jurisdiction of the commission that is not on the agenda above. Okay, seeing none. This meeting is adjourned.